Hey, welcome everybody, and happy Heart Trails Month. I'm really happy to have you here, and this is fun for me because we have a busy month ahead of events and programs, and a busy year ahead with this project that we're working on, and this is just a truly fun part of it. We're here to just celebrate trails together and to think about why it is that we love and care about trails. So I want to thank you for your time. I recognize that this is later than your typical meeting, but I hope that we can just have a fun time with it and share some trail stories. Before we do that, I do have some slides to share with you, and a short little story. But before we do that, even I want to ask you to share in the chat what brought you here tonight. What made a 7 p.m. on a Tuesday night in February worth your time? Oh, here comes Dave again.
Recording in progress.
Hey, Dave, we had lost you momentarily, but the question is what brought you here tonight, if you care to share in the chat. And also, I think I was going to say you're probably going to get some echo, but I think you dropped your phone, didn't you?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
You want me to go?
No, you can just use the chat if you'd like. Question is what brought you here tonight?
Okay.
Chris, Corbin, the chance to chat with kindred trail spirits. Love it. Ella, a gathering to talk about something I believe in, want to see in progress happening on the P2P. Great. Hey, Chris Schultz, thank you. Interested in the creation of a broader interconnected trail system. Same. All right, super. Well, thanks for doing that. I wanted to just mention that this is the second event that we're hosting as part of Heart Trails Month. The first one was an informal walk on Sunday evening. It was a full moon dumpling walk. So we took a really short, easy walk to enjoy the snow moon, and then we stopped and had some dumplings at a local restaurant here in Pittsburgh. And so that's what we did that night. We had a small group out in frigid temperatures. And we had a woman who I know, I live in the South Side neighborhood of Pittsburgh, and she told me that she's lived in the South Side for, oh, I think about 25 or 30 years. And this was the first time that she ever walked the trail at night.
Wow.
And yeah. So I thought that was pretty remarkable, that, it was just an informal group of people out for an hour-long walk. And that's what got her out there. And it wasn't even, I mean, she never had walked. She went from not ever walking the trail in her own neighborhood at night to walking it in the dead of winter with a wind chill of about 12 degrees. So um, to me, that's one story that speaks to the possibility of trails. We'll keep on this track for tonight, but I wanted to get started by sharing that. I also wanted to, if we could, take about 2 minutes with a video. And I have to, of course, get to the video. But we have it's the I Heart Trails, the Heart of Our Community video. And I think it's worth the time. So this will just get us all in the right headspace. And if you are newer to to this system of trails. You may not have seen it before. And this is actually part of a larger system of trails called the Industrial Heartland Trails Coalition. And the Parkersburg to Pittsburgh Trail Corridor is a part of this larger system. So let's go ahead. I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to be on this video for about 2 minutes. I'm gonna stop my share because I want to make sure that I did the whole video thing that you're supposed to do. Sharing the sound. Okay, got to share the sound, and we'll go ahead and get started. Okay.
When you are on the trail and when you are on the river, it doesn't feel like you're in a city at all. It feels like you're out in the wilderness.
I've taken people out onto the trails and their mouth drops open when they see the beauty along the river.
That's really, for me, what makes Morgantown so great. It just feels like home.
This is a way of getting them off the beaten path, get them on these trail systems to see our communities and what it's like to live a rural life in a small community.
I've seen a huge change. It is the heart of our community.
The Industrial Heartland Trails Coalition is a remarkably ambitious project that is now over 50% complete. When completed, it'll cover more than 1,500 miles of trails. It'll run through 51 counties and 4 states. But it's not just about the trail itself. It's about the communities those trails connect.
One of the great things is our people. It's a very can-do spirit, get involved spirit.
We're minutes from gorgeous farmlands, seconds from rivers.
My hope is that we continue to tell the world about our beautiful area, our beautiful trails, and become a place where everybody wants to come and live or visit.
What was old Appalachian America, what was it founded on? River and rail, right? We needed the water and the river for industry, and now those things are going. It's time to reuse those in a different way to keep the new asset, which is the people.
Okay. So again, just wanted to get us all in the right frame of mind. And I think you saw on the map that the P2P is part of this larger system. Chris Corbin on the phone with us could tell you more about the IHTC. If you want to know more, Chris is your resource. Go ahead. Chris, I saw you come off mute.
Sure. Always happy to talk about the Industrial Heartland Trails Coalition. At its core, it's just a collection of people, right? These kindred trail spirits, I think, that are working to make these connections and make sure that folks recognize the potential of trail connectivity throughout Western PA, Ohio, West Virginia, and just a little bit of sliver of New York. But I'll keep it short, Amy, and happy to chat beyond that if we need to.
Okay, super. You should be seeing a poll now. Question is, what do you love about your local trail? The place to play and recreate. I bump into my neighbors and other trail users. It gets me out into nature. It's good for my health and everybody's, or it creates opportunities for my community.
Did we just hit every single one? That's crazy.
I saw that it's a place to play. I saw someone maybe hit that and then change their response, but yeah, right across the board. I figured that might happen with a smaller group of people. So
Oh, I thought we would all pick the same the same two.
You do. Yeah. Which two did you think that we would pick?
Oh, I don't know.
I mean, truly, like there are two leads here. I bump into my neighbors and other trail users, and it gets me out into nature. Yeah, super. So thanks everyone for doing that. Let me hop into some slides because the sooner I go ahead and get these slides in front of you, the sooner we can get to discussion. And the goal is to be talking as a group by let's see, by 7:30. I need to. I needed to move the slides first. Hmm. Okay.
Here they come.
All right, super. Tickle in my throat just as soon as I'm about to give a talk. Let's see. Slideshow. All right, super. So we are here to talk about what the P2P is and what we're doing in February. We have somebody new to the meeting, by the way. Welcome, Anita. So the project area, for those who don't know already, is this is a trail corridor. It's a system of already existing trails. There are 8 trails that span 9 counties across West Virginia and Pennsylvania. The trails are all listed here. I'm not going to name them all for you. I think for most of you, you live someplace along one of these trails. But this is the system of trails that we're talking about. And ultimately, when complete, they will connect Parkersburg, West Virginia to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And at the current moment, the system is roughly 80% complete with when it's at 100%, that'll be about 238 miles. So it's significant. And recognizing this significance, there's a group of project partners that went out and got an ARC, Appalachian Regional Commission, a RISE grant. It's an ARISE planning grant that includes matching funds from a few different funders to conduct a regional master plan for the P2P trail corridor. The project partners are all listed here on the slide, and the partner that received the grant is the National Road Heritage Corridor. This work builds upon other past successes. Not everyone here tonight knows what these bullet points are, but just let me say to you, there has been collaboration occurring along this corridor and throughout the entire IHTC for decades now. And this is building upon past success and collaboration. And the purpose of the master plan project is to develop a community-based implementation plan that will unlock the community and economic development potential of the P2P Trail Corridor. And what I can say about this is really what Kent Spellman, who's one of our partners, said about it. This is his quote here. And, essentially, Kent would tell you if he were here tonight that the economic development opportunity hasn't materialized along all of the trails. It has in some places and in others it hasn't. And that in large part is why the partners together decided we need to really, plan for the future of these trails and how they can better benefit communities if that's what we want to happen. So there are 5 focus areas. These are the areas: equitable community development, equitable economic development, livability, conservation, and then sustaining this work over time. These are the areas that the partners want to focus on. And I should say that my company is Cycle Forward, and I was hired by the partners to manage this project. So that's my little piece in the puzzle here. The partners also identified these goals. And I think it is worth taking a moment to mention them to you. Their goals coming into the project included integrating physical trail infrastructure with inclusive economic strategies, producing actionable recommendations for investment, workforce development, marketing, and managing success over time. They also hope to lead equitable community engagement that ensures historically underserved communities shape and benefit from the outcomes of this work. And finally, to position the P2P as a national model for recreation-based economic development. So we all are dreaming big. We have a lot of work to do, but that's why we are here tonight, and that's why we're working on this project. This just gives you another view of the last 2 slides that I showed you. the goals and objectives of the project and how they fit with the values that we're carrying through the project, which are that everybody who interacts with us, no matter what they think about trails, is deserving of respect and dignity. We want to center communities in this work. This third one requires a little bit of explanation. Acceptance of not knowing just recognizes that we're all learning together as we look for the answers as to how these trails can better benefit the region. And finally, regional collaboration. How are we going to do all of this? This is our work plan, so to speak. We're doing tons of community engagement over the course of the next half year or so. We want to better understand the market. We want to know what's possible, what are the market possibilities, how are the trails already impacting communities, and develop an economic development and marketing strategy that coming out of that. We're also looking very closely at the infrastructure. We've biked about, I think maybe like 75 or 80% of the corridor to inventory the physical trail infrastructure and how well the trails connect into communities. And something that will come out of that is a toolkit for communities so that they can have some solutions as to how to better connect to their trails. And then finally, again, implementation. How do we carry this work forward in the future? How do we raise funds and manage this work over time? So that's a little bit about the project. Recognizing the time here, I don't want to open this up for questions, but if you have questions or things you're thinking about, things you think other people might ask us as we get further into this project, I welcome you to put that into the chat. And if it's a really important burning question, you can ask me right now. So let me just pause for a second. Do we have any burning questions? So what I'm going to do is talk to you a little bit about Heart Trails Month. So February is Heart Trails Month along the P2P. This is just something that we made up. We think it's getting some traction, and we're excited for all of the different events and programs that are taking place in celebration of trails. And we have a blend of virtual programs like tonight's, indoor programs, and some things that are even being held outside on trails. We have a full events calendar that you can see at p2ptrails.org. You can just go straight to the events calendar for that. But if you're thinking about ways to get involved, there are a few things. If you're not already following the newsletter or following on Facebook or Instagram, I really encourage you to follow along at those places. You could send a love letter to your favorite trail, and we have a few of those already in and a couple of examples to show you tonight. And of course, you can either attend or host an event or a program along the corridor. Let me just show you a few examples of events that we have planned. I mentioned the full moonwalk at the top of the meeting, and this is just a picture from along the full moonwalk. But to the right, you have some upcoming events. So here we have tonight's meeting. On Thursday, we're going to be gathering again to talk about how to ensure community benefit from trails. We have some run club gatherings. We have the Fayette Trails Coalition has a monthly meeting. So this just gives you a little flavor for some of what's coming up soonest. And I'm going to pause for a second, and I'm going to invite a couple of our partners who have events planned to just, if you could do your 30-second elevator pitch, tell them what you have planned. And we're going to start with you, Brian.
Sure. Along the Great Allegheny Passage, we have a winter bike ride on Wednesday lunchtime from Connellsville to the intersection with the Sheepskin Trail, which we will take into Dunbar. We'll explore Dunbar and then ride back to Connellsville for lunch. If you're more toward Pittsburgh, we have a stewardship day on the 26th where volunteers are doing trail maintenance on a section of the Great Allegheny Passage and the Three Rivers Heritage Trail here in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, great. And I think I saw in your event, Brian, that as long as it's above 20 degrees, that the ride is on.
Yes, but if you contact me and you want to do it at 16 degrees, I have all the right gear. I borrowed it all from Chris Corbren.
All right, super. Hey, Eric, can you tell the group about the event that you're planning?
Absolutely. So I'm working on a film screening. Ella gave me the good idea to show it multiple times, so that way more people can come to it. But we're hosting a film screening from Rails to Trails, the PBS publication, at South Union Township's new multi-sport indoor sport complex. That will be on 333 Pennsylvania Avenue in Uniontown. Um, so we'll be showing it about three times, and then hopefully getting people to fill out some love letters to the Sheepskin Trail. And then I might squeeze in a, pop-up social ride to Mama Ruka's for some pizza and beer afterwards. We'll see.
Sounds like fun. Ella, how about your event?
Yeah, we are Mon River Trails Conservancy and Morgantown's Board of Parks and Recreation, Bow Park, are joining hands and doing a big love day on February 10th. That's a Tuesday, and we are going to have Wiles Hill Community Centers where we're going to be stationed and have a full day of art, and people will be able to make lino cut valentines to trails, some fused glass trees that we hope to have as a love letter to trails. We're going to also be showing the From Rails to Trails documentary and have some question and answers as part of that, just to talk about our local transformation from rail to trail. Um, and so I think there's music and food. There's all kinds of things going on at Wiles Hill that night.
Yeah, awesome. And then some of that art will be going with you to the state capitol um, the following week.
That's right. So yeah,
Yeah.
I should say it's not just night. It's going
Mhm.
to be from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. So people can come in as long as they want or stay the whole time and just shuffle around to different activities. We'll also have a doctor there to talk about um, sad or just winter blues
Mm,
question. So
mhm.
so yeah, the full day.
Good. All right. Thank you. As we've mentioned a couple of times, like we are inviting love letters to trails. If any of you haven't done it yet, it's like about the most fun you could have in a 5 minute period sitting at your computer. It's an inspiring opportunity just through a web form. This is my love letters to the Great Allegheny Passage, and I said, have I ever told you how great you are? When I think about my personal trail story, not to mention the story of my career, you've always been there for me. I have the privilege of working with trails across Appalachia and beyond, but you were the very first to show me the awesome potential of trails and how they can transform communities and people's lives, mine included. Thank you. And Ella, we have yours as an example too.
Yeah, I bet this is a surprise for people who know me. So mine is my sweet North Bend Rail Trail. You were my first rail trail love. I met you with my mom and dad, them on a tandem bike and me on my bike. I remember our excitement exploring our very first rail trail. I love the cool dampness and sound of our voices in your tunnels. I love the columbines growing up from the ballast. The fun and beauty of those first dates got me yearning for so many more.
That's beautiful. And now you're dedicating your career to trails. Yeah, thank you for sharing. I'm going to stop my share at this point. You can see the prompt now is for you. So we just want to take a little bit of time to talk as a group and to explore what it is that you love about trails. And then before we're done, I want to also like get a little bit of information for you from you that will help us, over the course of this project. So if we can save about 10 minutes, that would be super. Um, Chris, I wanted to to invite you to share a bit about, and this could be, why are you here? What do you love about trails? What's your trail story? Like, you don't have to take the question literally.
Hmm, got it. Great. How much time do I have, Amy? How far back do I need to go?
Your call.
Uh,
We have until midnight.
yeah. Oh, wow. Okay. It's always, tough for me to think about where I actually start, telling, I guess, my trail story because it's a long one, and I think it kind of goes back to my inception, basically, as a guy who was born in New Hampshire in the 1980s to parents who came from New Jersey that discovered New Hampshire while bike touring. I think the concept of bikes and biking has kind of been with me forever, and my parents started a touring company in the early 80s that explored New Hampshire and Vermont and Maine and kind of kept that momentum going as a couple of us kids entered the picture. And it's stuck with me that entire time that, trails, bikes, getting out, seeing places and spaces at a different perspective and at a different tempo really kind of creates some more lasting and authentic memories. And I think I've always drawn on that in my career so far, or at least whatever you call this thing that keeps my fridge full of beer. And that, I've worked to take youth outdoors, kind of try to instill this same concept, the same love for trails and these third space recreation areas into a younger audience. And then also more professionally sending, groups of folks from Pittsburgh to DC on the Great Allegheny Passage and the CNO, along with, a number of 24-hour relays between DC and Pittsburgh. Probably some of the most memorable, but also blurriest times I've spent on a bike, 3 in the morning going through Little Orleans and hoping for the best. So, that's just a little part of it. I think that's kind of informed, my commitment to my work with the Pennsylvania Environmental Council at this point, and really why I think this effort is so full of potential and one that I'm going to do my darndest to bring to actualization any way possible.
Thank you. I never knew that part of your story, that your parents had a guide company. It all makes sense now.
I'm sure it does. Yeah. So my first memories were really from the back of Cannondale Bugger, which was the little cart, one of the first carts for kids they had back in the day, and you sat backwards, and probably one of those things that would never fly today, but always some good times.
So truly, I want to open it up, and I always hate to put people on the spot, but I see Anita and Greg and Bill and Dave, and we would love to know what brought you here tonight and what it is that you love about trails. Muted. You can just unmute yourself. Yay, Anita, I saw you come off mute.
Hi there. Good evening,
Hi.
everyone. Hi. Hi. Well, yeah, so, again, I'm glad we have until midnight because we might need that tonight. But it was so I got my first 3-speed in the third grade. Never forget that day. And I spent my youth riding my bike freely through the streets of Buffalo, New York. I moved to Morgantown at the age of 18 to go to school and found nowhere to ride. I was uh, somewhat stifled by that because it was really my way of not only getting around, but it was also my way of expressing myself on my bike. So it took a minute. In 85, I got my first mountain bike. And in the early 90s, there was a little article in the newspaper about uh, possibly acquiring the soon to be abandoned railway. And in Ella, maybe you can help me out here, but in 95, CSX rail banked 56 or so miles of rail bed. And there was a group that had come together, and I kept calling and saying, can I get involved? Can I get involved? And they kept saying, wait, just wait a minute, just wait a minute. So I waited a minute, and in 97, I joined MRTC, and in 98, I became president. And and then with Ella's great guidance and help, and the help of amazing people in the Tri-County area, we did build 51 miles of trail. And part of that is what we're talking about tonight. So, yeah, my love of trails and mountain biking and riding goes deep. But what I saw, and I think this is a really important thing to maybe share tonight, is that there's something very organic that will happen. We talked about economic development, and some of that will be organic, which is really nice to watch happen. You will see families put their children on bikes when they never had access to a place to ride before. And that in itself will spur somebody to bring in a little coffee shop or a bike repair shop or who knows, maybe a B&B, right? So all sorts of opportunities for development. But the real intrinsic development, I think, happens right in these communities. And we'll see that happen. So thank you for that opportunity tonight.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for all of the work that you've done and for also like just introducing that thought of as your bicycle as a form of freedom as a child. That's pretty neat.
Thanks.
Chris has a question for you.
I was just wondering if you remember what model that first mountain bike was, Anita.
Yeah, it was a rock hopper.
Excellent.
Yeah. Yep, it was a rock hopper. And I made the mistake of lending it out one day. Yeah, never saw that again. But I do have my second, which was a Gary Fisher.
Very cool. Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. Chris? I'm sorry. Chris, we almost had three Chris's on this meeting tonight. So that's why I was primed to say Chris. How about Greg or Bill? Bill, if you're still here, any thoughts you'd like to share?
Hi, Greg here. Good evening, everyone. Hey, I've been working with Amy since the late aughts, I guess, on I'm a graphic designer and with the company that I worked for at the time, helped to develop the the kind of the kit of parts for the sign system for the Great Allegheny Passage, and been interested to support the trails in that way ever since. I love getting out on trails, whether it's the Montour Trail or the Panhandle Trail or the Great Allegheny Passage. I feel like every time I get on the trail, it's like, why don't I do this all the time? You know, why am I not out here every night? It's transporting, taking my daughter to the North Shore, the trail along the North Shore, and there'll be people laying out on boats in the river, and it's like, wow, I feel like we're in LA or something. And it's like, just so many fascinating changes in my cat's walking by here. Sorry. So many fascinating changes in scenery, and you're just transported from the city so quickly, or you can be in the city environment as well. So I just love the feeling of being on the trail. So like to get much more involved. I'm very busy, and I've been talking to Amy about contributing to the P2P in some way, and so glad to meet you all here and learn more about it.
Thanks, Greg. So Dave, you're joining us all the way from Kentucky, and when you first reached out to me a couple of months ago, you said I just rode the North Bend, and now you tell me today you rode it again or parts of it. Can you tell us a little bit more about your trail story and what brought you here tonight? And you are currently muted. Hold on a second. I can try it now. Okay.
So I live in Lexington, Kentucky. We don't really have any rail trails in my town. I grew up in Cincinnati, which has a real nice rail trail going north up at, and as I sort of grew up, it got longer and longer and longer, and I was just watching that thing grow. Watching the little town of Loveland, Ohio, which is just north of Cincinnati, is a sleepy, kind of little bedroom community, and it's just completely embraced the town and transformed it into probably one of the most desirable places to live in the northern suburbs of Cincinnati because of the trail. The whole town has just embraced the trail and it's done an incredible job of economically revitalizing. And when I did do the North Bend Trail recently. I've probably done all the rail trails in West Virginia, and just seeing some of the parts of West Virginia, Doddridge and Ritchie County and stuff, they could really use a boost. It has so much potential. So I just I don't know what I can do to contribute to this project other than just cheer you on. But would really love to see it come to fruition.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thanks for taking the time to reach out in the first place. And you sent me some photos from one of the towns along the North Bend. And I haven't been to that town yet, but boy, the architecture just looks fantastic. And
So
yeah,
Ella, I'm sure probably knows West Union, and this was one of these towns that boomed with an oil and gas boom like 100 years ago, and I had big dreams for the town, and it's just really um, the economy is not strong, put it that way.
yeah, yeah.
And we can
Well,
go through a list of towns on North Bend that are struggling.
Well, West Union is really special, man. It's spectacular. The architecture there
Yeah.
has a lot of potential. Y'all got to go there.
good.
Yeah, that's right.
So we have someone from Kentucky promoting promoting a West Virginia community. I love it. Thank you, Dave. Does anyone else want to jump in with a why you're here, what or a trail story that you'd like to share?
Well, just to say, in 2000, Anita hired me. That's the rest of that story. That's my connection.
Enough said. Enough said.
Wow.
Good work,
20,
Anita.
Thank
yeah,
you.
26 years. That's impressive,
It
Ella.
is, it is,
Yeah.
yeah, it is like in a weird to have the small world of trails and how we all get linked together. So it is great to have, you know, this group, even, I think it's kind of an amazing thing to even have this group tonight talking, right, about these things. So it's exciting. I know we put in the work to get the grants, but sometimes I just feel like there's some amazing magic to it.
Yeah. Yeah, there is. Brian, I doubt you have the time to tell the story about the goat, but is there anything is there anything that you want to share?
Oh, the goat story I'll save for around a beer sometime. But my first trail building experience was, at age 9 and 10 in the woods across from my house, where a couple of friends and I built trails for our bikes in the woods. And my next trail was riding with my dad on a single track trail from our house to the Erie Canal towpath. through the suburbs when we couldn't get our bikes on the back of the car, but we could bike to the canal. So biking on the canal towpath was the next section, and then I fell in love with the Adirondacks and hiking in the High Peaks area there. And in college, rode the Prairie Path between Chicago and the Fox River out in far west suburbs of Chicago. So, yeah, landing this opportunity with the Gap has been a real thrill and a opportunity of a lifetime. So, whether in boots or on a bike, I'm happy to be out on trail somewhere.
Yeah, thanks. Well, speaking of boots, I oftentimes whenever I do a survey for a project and we ask like, what's your primary way of using your trail? We usually have at least 50% people that are walking or running on the trails, and so, we have a bunch of cyclists here tonight, but we always have to remember the multiple ways that people are using our trails. Um, that being said, some of your stories tonight have reminded me of a project I did with Pennsylvania Environmental Council a couple of years ago, and we did this mountain bike meeting. And whenever we went around the room and said, "What's your earliest cycling memory?" Almost everybody's first memory on a bike was somewhere close to home, across the street in the woods or going, down the local neighborhood streets, and it's pretty interesting when you think about it. Okay, so I think I'm going to take us back into a couple of slides so that I can ask you those questions that I promised. So you should be looking at a slide about virtual engagement, and or maybe you're not yet. Are you now? You have a thumbs up that you're seeing my slide? Okay,
Yep.
super. So I have been wondering how we need to be across a multi-county, multi-state area over the next many months, learning from people about how we can build out this master plan in a way that truly ensures community and regional benefit. And I have kept wondering, how are we going to do that? Like, what are the questions that we're going to ask anywhere that we go? And I went out for a walk today, and if you know the quote, "All truly great thoughts are conceived while walking," that's when it happened for me today. I finally happened upon the questions that I am hoping to be able to take everywhere we go over the next many months. And it comes down to, what are you hoping for when it comes to trails, and how do we get there? Two very simple questions. And I don't know 100% if these are going to be the questions. I'm hoping they will be. But I wanted to just put these questions in front of this group so we can test it out and see if these questions will work across different formats. So again, opening it up, we also have the chat, but what do you hope for when it comes to trails? And we only have about 15 minutes, so jump right in.
I always hope for new connections among existing trails, and I always hope for the local folks in the towns that are connected who wouldn't normally be on a trail, like your neighbor on the south side, would discover how wonderful they are and begin to use them hour by hour and day by day.
Great. Thank you, Brian. Do you have some immediate response to the how do we get there? Of course, that's why we're doing this giant project in the first place, but is there anything at the gut level that you would want to offer?
I know invitational events like the kind you are uh, encouraging folks to put together for Heart Trails Month, I think is a great start. I just think, yeah, inviting folks who we've never seen out to something small and something winsome and lovely is a great first start, at least for my second hope.
Thank you.
I'd like to see more communities, and maybe this goes along with what Dave was saying, but more communities identify as a trail town. And that means like recognizing that there's something from that trail that can, engage and transform their lives, whether that's jobs along it or whether that's, getting to have community causes and events on it, or whether that means, just having those daily routines and connections with it, where people are doing it on their own or going out on walking on their own or biking. But something where we see, and like I said, I think some towns are further along than others, obviously, or some trails are further along than others. But, um, you know, and it may only take one business to domino effect, but there's a lot of places on this corridor that I don't think we see that yet, where the town has connected yet with the trail.
I
So,
think I just heard a nugget of a how do we get there. Maybe just having the right businesses step up and see the opportunity, and or am I reading too much into that?
well, yeah, I mean, it would be that's a hopeful thing, and I do think that you see that, but I also think that there's like big challenges if the properties in the town aren't for sale, or or if there's like a high bar on workforce that isn't there in the community, or I don't know how we get there.
Yeah.
I don't know the answer.
Well, I think you're in the area, and that fits with
I'm in
what
the
we're
weeds.
working on,
I'm in the
right?
weeds of the area.
I mean, but you were talking about workforce. We're talking about understanding the gaps in business services, understanding available properties, right? I'm hearing some of these things from you.
Yeah.
Mhm. Thanks, Ella. Other thoughts on this?
Can we just talk about getting kids off their phone and doing healthy exercise?
Mhm.
That's one thing that I would like to see more of.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. Getting all of us off our phones. I was just reading this book where this woman was saying, like, when she wakes up in the morning, she could take a few different paths, right? One of them is checking the news. One of them is getting on her phone and scrolling, and another is putting her sneakers on and heading out the door, right? But yes, absolutely. Thanks, Dave. Well, let me ask you this as we're getting closer to winding down here. This is a small group, right? Some of the things we do will be in front of like 30 or 40 people, like in-person workshops, that kind of a thing. Do these questions feel right?
I think so.
Okay. Brian, I see you puzzling over it.
Well, I mean, they're broad. They're broad. And question one is sort of easy to brainstorm about. Question two is something that a lot of us wrestle with still, right? But we need each other and we need to brainstorm for sure. The hopes are probably in common. The how do we get there is probably more contextualized based on our counties and our towns and our governments and our funding sources. Just a thought.
Yeah, thank you.
Might consider how to make the first question or break down the first question to parts, like, what do you hope to see on the trail? What do you hope to hear on the trail? Like maybe it needs to be more specific. Maybe find ways to make it more specific to draw answers out of people more readily.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Greg.
Mhm.
And some of how we deliver this might depend on the setting, right? So so yeah, that's helpful.
These are questions that you would take into a community where you were hoping to um, have new miles of trail or just talking to community groups.
Yeah, that's right. Or even at some of our upcoming virtual sessions, you know, and we might be able to use um, some tools that, you know, to make it easier for people. We have somebody entering the meeting room. We're going to go ahead and let them in. Okay,
If
I am
if I
going
could just
to.
add something, if you made that, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt like that, but
Oh, go ahead.
if you made that interactive, whether it's virtual or in person with 30 or 40 people in an actual setting, maybe think about doing it as a multiple choice and say check all that you might want to see. People might not really be able to envision everything that a trail could offer. This might also be an opportunity to put some new ideas in their minds of things that they could look for in their trails. Just a thought.
Yeah. That it's much appreciated. Thank you, Anita. And thank you all for allowing me to sort of like float these questions and see how they land. I do appreciate that. And I want to say welcome, Richard. And we're going to go ahead to the last couple of slides here. I wanted to make sure that you know about our upcoming virtual engagement sessions. We have another 6 sessions throughout the month of February. These are all topical. If you see any topics that appeal to you, or if you know somebody that you think really ought to be a part of the conversation, please do attend or share the information. It's all at p2ptrails.org. And you can think of these as focus groups, but everybody's invited. And again, this goes back to our inclusive community engagement. Everybody's invited. And I hope that some of these, I hope to see you back. I'll put it that way. We also will be out and about, as I mentioned, in the spring in along your part of the P2P. And I want to encourage you if you have events that you want us to come to, or events or programs, and you know we may or may not be able to make it, but think about us and including us into events and programs that you already have. Let's see. Last thing we have here are a couple of book giveaways. I'm gonna have to stop my share here. We have 2 books before I do. My book, Deciding on Trails, that was an easy one for me to acquire and be able to share out to you. And also, there's a really fun book called Get Up and Ride by Jim Shea, and Jim generously donated a book. So let's go ahead and do a quick giveaway here. While I'm pulling that up, any comments or thoughts? Feel free to fill the space, friends.
You know, Amy, one thought I had through this conversation, and goes back to that original poll and the fact that we all kind of chose that trails are a good space to like run into people, community folks. It sort of dawned on me at some point that like I also really enjoy seeing people I don't know, right? Like people who are new to it, folks who I haven't come across in the biking community before, and I think that's kind of like illustrates the success of the trail, right? More people, more new folks getting out there.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, I'm with you, Chris. Trails is social spaces, right? Is pretty neat, but then if you think about how they sort of like they can open you up to the world in a way, depending on who you're meeting when you're out there. Right. So, let's see here. First book, and I don't have enough time to pull people who weren't able to make it, but so we'll see if we can land on someone who is either presently here or was here earlier in the meeting. Might take a few spins. Project team members, I did not have you listed. So, let's see. This one's for deciding on trails. Not here. Sorry, George. over there. Let's see, let's see. If only we had a Chris Corbrand. This is ridiculous. Let's go again.
Amy, I don't think you could have made these spins again, if you tried.
One more roll here.
All right, all right. I'm pulling people. All right, I think we're down to either who's here or has been here. This should work. This one's for deciding on trails. All right, we're gonna get that one in the mail to Bill.
All right, Bill.
Bill was
There you
with
go.
us. All right. This one's exciting. This one is for get up and ride.
Your
Last
chances are
spin
good,
of the
Dave.
night. Oh, Chris was supposed to be removed. Dave, all right. Super. That is so silly. All right. We're gonna get a book in the mail to Chris Schultz, who was here with us from West Virginia Public Radio, and then we're gonna get a copy into the mail to you, Dave. You can just email me your address, please.
Thank you.
So we are coming right up on 8 o'clock. I want to thank everyone again, sincerely. Thank you for spending a part of your Tuesday evening with us and for celebrating trails together. And I hope that you will find other ways to become involved in Heart Trails Month and the entire master planning process. Thank you so much for being here tonight. And go ahead, get on with your evenings.
Thanks for gathering us,
Thank you.
Amy. See ya.
All right.
Thank
Talk to you
you.
later.
Good night.
Good night.